This is going to be a short look at the Scrapyard Scrapmax 460. This is Elmax steel. It has it's the 460, so I think it has a 4.6 inch blade. I'm not exactly sure. I'll put the specs in the description of the video. Here it is in comparison to my Scrapyard dumpster mutt, one of my dumpster mutts. And it has pretty similar blade length to that dumpster mutt in terms of cutting edge. You know, obviously much smaller ricasso and choil. So, and it's below it there is my Adventure Sworn Mountaineer, and then below that is a 840, I think, Mora 840. So this is let me see here, very thin. It's actually thinner than the Mora 840, and it's a full height grind, a full height flat, so it's like distal tapered. So it's really quite thin. And this is my first scrapyard knife that I've had that has the so-called War Dog handle. This is the same handle that the Scrapyard War Dog has, and it is really a nice handle. It's larger than this handle, and this knife in general is sort of larger than I thought it was going to be. I was sort of surprised when I got it at the size of it, but this handle has like a nice palm swell in it. It's like sort of contoured, and I really like this handle. It's very comfortable. It doesn't necessarily look like it's going to be that comfortable, but it really is actually quite an ergonomic handle. So they did a really good job with it. It's got a nice satin finish on it. This is, I think, the first knife I've gotten from the Bussykin group that has a satin finish on it. I'm really not much of a fan of satin on their stuff. This is Elmax, so you know, obviously it's going to be satin, and it makes sense. And you know, with the sort of roll that, you know, you'd be doing with a knife that's this thin, you know, the sort of tasks that you'd be doing with it, it definitely makes sense to have it in a satin finish. So I just got it very recently, and I haven't really got much of a chance to use it. But I just wanted to sort of show it. It's sort of a rare knife. I got it off of the exchange on Blade Forums, so it's not a new offering by Scrapyard. They were fairly limited. I think the first time they were offered was at probably was at a show, and then I think they had them in the Santa Gonza in 2012. So they've been out for quite a while, actually, and I've wanted one since then, and always just sort of missed them on the exchange, but they really are quite nice. Like I said, it's sort of a rare knife, so there's not really very many videos on it on YouTube. Sort of wanted to do this one as more of just like a short look at it, and sort of a size comparison to some other tools, because I was sort of surprised when I got it at the size of it. It's larger than I thought it was going to be, but that's sort of a good thing. I always sort of intended to buy this tool as a pairing to my 1311. And so it's obviously significantly smaller than that tool, no matter what size it is. So the fact that it's a little bit larger than I thought it was isn't really a huge deal. There's a few versions of this. This is the 460, like I said. So this is the largest one, and this is the original version that doesn't have like the Bowie clip point. That they eventually basically took some of these and just put a Bowie clip point on it and modified them for one of the shows that Bussy does, like a Knob Creek maybe or something like that. But those ones are pretty cool. And then there is a 360, I believe, which is, I think the 360 is the same. Yeah, the 360 is the same blade width and shape. It's just shorter. I think it's 3.6 inches. I could be wrong that the 460 refers to it being 4.6 inches, but I'm fairly certain that it's something along those lines. But there's a 360 that's basically the same handle, same blade width and shape, just a little bit shorter. And then I think they call it the 340, which has, again, the same handle, but it has a different blade shape. It's wider, and it's also shorter. It's somewhere in the 3-inch blade range, but they're all very thin. They're all Elmax. This is the first Elmax knife that I've gotten, and like I said, I really haven't used it much, so I can't really comment on the performance of it so much. But I think, like I was saying earlier, in terms of how thin the knife is and sort of the role that it would play as a result of how thin it is a good steel choice. It makes sense. I was, if for example, if they had brought this knife out in the same specs in SR101 or something like that, I'd probably be a little bit less interested in it, just because, SR101 really doesn't have the stain resistance that would be appropriate for a tool like that you might use for food preparation or skinning game or something like that. But I mean, it's not to say carbon steels can't play that role, but I think that's where, if you are going to have a stainless steel fixed blade, that sort of makes sense in that regard. So I was thinking this, it's slightly thinner than this 840 from Mora, which I was surprised about. I thought it was going to be about the same thickness, but it is actually a little bit thinner. I think the thickness is 0.093 inches thick on the Elmax there, which is about what Bussy does on all their Elmax, because Bussy Combat has come out with a few steak knives that are in that same thickness range on the in their Elmax steel and everything like that. But I will eventually have some use footage of it up on the channel. I might combine it with the Adventure Sworn Mountaineer. Not sure yet. I might not, just because the knives are fairly different, and in terms of the viewership of the people that might be interested in seeing use footage between the two knives, it might be sort of different. So some people might be interested in seeing the Mountaineer that really wouldn't care so much at all about the Scrapmax 460.